What comes to your mind when you think of hiking deep into the woods or camping beneath the mountains? It's where people go to reconnect with nature. But sometimes nature doesn't welcome us back. In places we call peaceful, remote, untouched, you might come across things you were never meant to see. Things without a name, without an explanation. Welcome to 3 terrifying mountain horror stories, where every breath feels heavy, every shadow feels alive. And you'll have to ask yourself, is the scariest thing the darkness or what's hiding inside it? Story 1. The Scream from Adirondack Mountain. I'm part of a small outdoor group. We do everything from mountain climbing, skiing, to deep woods camping. That day, the 4 of us, me, James, Christina, and Davida, set off to Adirondack Park to hike and camp during the breathtaking colors of October. We chose a high isolated spot far from the main campground and pitched our tents on hard rocky ground. As the sun dipped behind the peaks, James tended the fire. Christina and I prepped dinner, and Davida wandered off to collect firewood. Everything felt perfectly normal, until the first scream echoed. It was a woman's scream, high-pitched and piercing, drifting through the trees and cascading down from the ridge. It didn't sound like someone calling for help. It sounded like something being torn apart. We froze. No chewing. No speaking. Just the crackling fire and the wind rustling through brittle autumn leaves. Then, snap. A loud cracking sound behind us, like something breaking violently. We stomped out the fire. No one was hungry anymore. We split into 2 tents, James and I in one, the girls in the other. All I could think about was that scream, and this unshakable feeling that something or someone was watching us. Over an hour passed. James had dozed off, but I couldn't sleep. The wind howled like a chorus of distant voices. Then, the second scream, this time closer, much closer, right at the edge of our camp. I jolted upright. James's eyes flew open. We stared at each other. But now it wasn't just sound. We heard footsteps, not running, not crunching twigs, but slow, heavy steps, deliberate like combat boots stomping on rock. I whispered, "Davida, Christina." No answer. And then something started shaking our tent. Not gently. Not like a prank. It was violent. The whole tent rocked side to side like it might collapse. We screamed. I heard panic from the other tent. I started counting 1, 2. And at 2, the shaking stopped. I unzipped the flap. No one was there. Just pitch black forest. Silent. Unnaturally silent. I ran to the girls' tent. They were already packed backpacks on. We didn't speak. We left everything, tent, sleeping bags, and started hiking down the mountain in the dark. No flashlights, just faint moonlight leading the way. Exhausted but too afraid to stop for long. Every time we paused, we felt something behind us. Once I turned around and I swear I saw a figure. Tall, thin, motionless, standing between 2 trees. We finally made it to the car just before dawn. We collapsed and passed out inside. By noon, we woke. No one said much, but we all knew. What we heard wasn't just fear, and what we felt was real. Something lives in those mountains, and whatever it is, it doesn't want to be disturbed. Story 2. The Shadow on Everest. My uncle, the one everyone in our family called the adrenaline junkie, had climbed more than 5 of the world's highest peaks. But there was one climb he never truly returned from. When he came back from Everest, his eyes were different. Blank, quiet, haunted. He once said, "On Everest, you're not just fighting nature. You're fighting things that have no name." That year, he attempted Everest solo. No guide, no climbing team. He said he wanted to feel truly alive. But up there, he left something behind. I only heard the full story 5 years later when I was old enough to understand. The expedition started fine. After resting a day at base camp, he began the climb into the death zone where oxygen is so scarce the human body can only survive for 16 to 20 hours. Things were manageable until he saw the first body, frozen in a crevice wearing a red jacket stiff with ice. The face was intact, eyes wide open, still staring, like it was waiting for someone. He told me that after seeing that corpse, something drained out of him. His mind spiraled, his legs turned heavy, and he started talking to himself. He stopped to rest beside a large rock, trying to control his breathing. That's when he heard a voice, unfamiliar calm, from above. A man emerged from the white fog. No name tag, no climbing group logo. He simply smiled and said, "Come on. Just a little farther." My uncle nodded weakly and said he had to turn back, his body was shutting down. The man kept smiling, but my uncle said, that smile felt empty, like it didn't belong on a living face. As he descended, he kept glancing over his shoulder, and every time, the man was still there, waving, smiling, urging him to keep climbing. Even after hundreds of feet, he was still there. Until finally my uncle stopped, gasping for breath, and shouted, "I'm not going any further. Leave me alone." The man paused, smiled, and said, "Then, watch me." Then he stepped backward and fell straight off the cliff. Panicked, my uncle ran to the edge and looked down, but there was no one. No scream, no impact, no trail. Just undisturbed snow. Then blackness. He passed out. When he woke up, he was in a medical tent back at base camp, rescued by 2 Nepali climbers and airlifted out by helicopter. But that wasn't the scariest part. Weeks later, back home, he found a forum post about a missing climber, someone who had vanished the same week, believed to have fallen near the same spot. There was a photo attached. It was him, the man in the fog. My uncle's hands trembled as he showed me. He wasn't sure if he'd seen a ghost, or just hallucinated from lack of oxygen. But he always said, some spirits never come down from Everest, and maybe they don't want to be alone. Story 3. The thing inside the cliff cave. Have you ever wondered, what if you saw something you were never meant to see? Not a ghost, not a wild animal, but something in between, no longer human, yet not quite a monster. It happened to me in Banff National Park up in Canada, a hiker's paradise. I'd just gone through a nasty breakup and needed to escape the city people, everything. I picked an unpopular trail. I wanted silence, solitude. I brought all the right gear: helmet, rope, harness, carabiners. I was prepared, or at least I thought I was. I picked a high ridge and set up for a top rope descent where you anchor the rope at the top and rappel down to create your own path. About halfway down, I spotted it. A cave, right in the middle of the cliff face. The opening was big enough to walk into upright. Like any curious climber, I couldn't resist. I braced myself and stepped inside. The first few feet were still lit sunlight bouncing off the rock. But the deeper I went, the darker it got. And then I heard it. A low humming, like a machine running somewhere deep inside. Not loud, but steady, mechanical, cold. I called out, "Hello," not expecting an answer, just hoping for an echo to gauge the depth. But instead, the humming stopped. My heartbeat spiked. And then I heard breathing. Slow, heavy, close. I turned toward the blackness. Nothing, at first. But I knew something was in there with me. My fingers shook as I reached for my flashlight. I hesitated. Something inside me screamed, "Turn it on. Now." I flicked the switch, and the beam caught them. 2 faces, peeking out from the far wall of the cave. Only half of each face was visible, their skin pale and shriveled, their eyes wide open, blank and glassy. They didn't flinch. They just stared. I backed away, slowly. Then something grabbed my ankle. Its hand was cold, wet. I screamed, kicked hard, and my foot hit something soft but bony. A face, maybe. I felt it cave in. There was a scream, but not human. It was ragged, crooked, like an animal choking on its own breath. I scrambled, clawed my way back up the rope, terrified they'd pull it from below. My shirt tore. My hands bled. I slipped on the carabiner more than once. But I didn't stop. When I reached the top, I cut the rope, spray painted a huge red X on the rock face, a warning for anyone else who might pass this way. Back at the car, I was still shaking. I called the park rangers, gave them coordinates, told them I thought someone or something was hiding in that cave, possibly sick or dangerous. They thanked me, said they'd check it out. That night I dreamt of their eyes, empty, starving, waiting. I still don't know what I saw. People, mutants, something else. All I know is I got out. But whatever was in that cave, it's still out there. And sometimes I still feel like it's watching me. Deep in the forest, high on the mountains, or buried in the heart of a cave. There are things we can't explain, not with science, not with logic. Maybe it's just coincidence. Maybe it's your imagination. Or maybe it's something that never wanted to be found. Still planning that camping trip. If you enjoy true horror stories, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. Like this video if it sent chills down your spine, and comment, what would you do if this happened to you? Sleep tight, if you can.